from 1979, Lowell George from Little Feat. Thanks, I'll Eat It Here. Now, what a jolly good album this is as well. Now, by the late 70s, Lowell George was getting a little bit cheesed off with one or two of the members of Little Feat, and thought the band was sort of going a little bit too jazzy or whatever, and wanted to get back to what he liked doing best. So he virtually disbanded Little Feat while they were recording the Down on the Farm album, and started to concentrate a little bit more on this solo album, which he'd been dipping in and out of for 2 or 3 years after signing a solo deal. It's got some great people on this. There's all sorts of people on it. Charles is on it, Rait's on it, all sorts of people on it. It's a short album. It's only lasts for about 30 minutes. And I would say a couple of the tracks are a little bit not that brilliant. But the rest of them, goodness me, absolute crackers of tracks. The other thing that's interesting about this album is that for a solo album, quite a lot of the material isn't actually written by Lowell George, which is a little bit surprising. Most solo albums tend to be written by the person who makes a solo album in the first place, as opposed to being in a band. But I think the point with this one is he just wanted to make an album that he enjoyed playing on. The first track is an Alan Toussaint track. Now, What Do You Want the Girl to Do, which is, I think, it's absolutely brilliant. The version I hear is quite similar to Toussaint's original version, which was I think it was on his Summer Nights, I think it was called, the album that he was on, that he was originally on. Brilliant song, one of my great favourites. I don't know why it's never been a massive hit for anybody. If it has, and I've missed out on it, let me know. Somebody tell me, because I just think it's a great song. I've got a cracking version of it by Raitt as well on one of her albums. Can't remember what that album's called, but I know she's dressed up as a baseball player on the front of it. I can't think what it's called off the top of my head. But that kicks the album off, and that is absolutely brilliant. The second track, Honest Man, is another cracker of a song, and it's, for me, it's between this and these first two are, I think, the best two on it. That's not to say the rest of them aren't any good, but these two are a cracking start. Again, it's got the horns and the backing vocals and the muscle shoals feel and all that sort of stuff. It's really, really good stuff. And then we move on to the third track. Now, the third track, Two Trains. Now, this is where it just starts to, we go off into almost sort of like southern rock territory with this one a little bit. Now, if you can imagine Lynyrd Skynyrd with female backing vocals and a horn section, that's what that sounds like. Two Trains. It's a cracker. It's a brilliant track, and it's worth the price of admission, as they say. And it's not that far beyond the first two as well. So it's a great opening 1, 2, 3 there. And then, just to make things even more interesting, the final track on side 1 is a cover of the Ann Peebles track, I Can't Stand the Rain. Lowell George's voice is not an Ann Peebles type voice at all, but he rearranges it and makes it work. It really is good. It's a nice version. Tons of versions of that track around, of course, but it works. You wouldn't think it would, but it does. Just to nip back to the track before, Two Trains, that I should have pointed out as well, that was a reworking of a Little Feat track. I think it was on Dixie Chicks album, was it? Can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was. Anyway, that's side 1 of Lowell George. Thanks, I'll leave it here. Let's move on to side 2, which for me doesn't kick off quite as well as side 1 finished, or even started for that matter. Cheek to Cheek is the track I'm talking about. It's the weakest track on the album, mate, although I do know a lot of people who are fans of Lowell George who will probably be sticking pins in a little doll of me now because they think it's great. To me, it's just it's a little bit too Spanish, Mexican, gypsy music for me, and it's not that there's anything wrong with Spanish, Mexican, gypsy music, but it just doesn't sit on, it doesn't sit right in this. It doesn't, you put it on and you think, oh crikey, they mispressed a different album on the second side. Next, we get the sleazy, sort of bluesy stump of Easy Money. Now this was written by Ricky Lee Jones. Great track, really, really, really good. Sleazy sort of stomping blues track, which is really good. Then we go on to 20 Million Things, which is describe it really. It's just one of those songs that's got a sort of beautiful feel about it. It just really does feel nice without being anything particularly elaborate. It's a fairly simple, straightforward sort of song, but it is a really pleasant listen, as is the next track, Find a River. I'd say the second side of the album is definitely slightly inferior to the first side, but it's still nice. Apart from that opening Cheek to Cheek track, I think that those next three, Easy Money, 20 Million Things and Find a River, are pretty good songs. The final track on the album is a little bit weird. It's called Himmler's Ring, and it was written by Jimmy Webb. And it's almost like a vaudeville type comedy song. It's really strange, and it's got its merits. It's not unlistenable. It's an odd end to the album for me, and that's what makes this album a little bit puzzling, because to me it's got 9 tracks on it, 7 of which are absolutely wonderful. 2 don't really fit for me, and the thing that makes that a little bit stranger is that there were 2 other tracks recorded at the same sort of time, which came out at a later date, one on the expanded version of this and one on a Little Feat compilation, which could have been on there instead. So I'm not quite sure what the thinking about that was. Those 2 songs incidentally were called Heartache and China White. Heartache being the one that came out on the CD remaster of this. So I hope you're taking from what I'm saying, this is a really, really good album. It stands up there in amongst some of my sort of favourite and most listened to albums. It's one of those albums that's got a feel to it that no other album has got, because it sort of stands by itself. Because sadly, after this, Lowell George was only sort of 34. He died, I think, about 11 days, I think, after he'd given an interview saying that he was going to take back control of Little Feat and turn them back into the band that they were supposed to be in the first place. So this was the last sort of thing that came out while he was alive, on the album that they were working on, that Little Feat were working on when he died. The rest of them did finish it off, and it did get released. But so this is very much a one-off album, and you can pick it up without spending a fortune as well, so it's well worth getting hold of. Another thing you've got to say about this is the cover. Now the cover, you look at it, you go, Lowell George in a bathrobe. What's that all about? We'll look in the background, if I can get this close enough so you can see it. If you're watching this on bigger, this is a painting. It's a copy of a painting by Edouard Manet, which is, what's it called? It's called Le Déjeuner sur le something or other. Let's try that bit again. Le Déjeuner sur la herbe or something. And the 3 people who are sitting there at the dinner are not the 3 people who are in Edouard Manet's original painting, obviously, because if you look, you've got Fidel Castro, Bob Dylan, and Marlene Dietrich in the background of the cover, or Lowell George's Thanks, I'll Eat It Here from 1979. A cracking album. If you've not heard it, try and get a listen to it, because it really is good, and you won't regret it, as they say.